Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Alaka here for EPCreativeMedia, and I'm back with a brand new video. As you have all seen from the title, we've got yet another expansion pack coming out, and of course we're going to get right into it. But before I begin, I bring you the verse for the day, which comes from the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 to 7, and it reads, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." And now, I think a lot of people have probably heard about these particular verses, especially the peace of God, that some say surpasses understanding. And I think these are actually really important verses to remember, for the simple reason that God is literally reassuring us that as believers in Christ Jesus, we are not to place our focus on the turmoil that's going on around the world and allow that to dictate how we feel and our moods and how we react to things. The natural human reaction, especially when it comes to tragedies and all that stuff, is to have fear, is to be precautious, is to act in a manner that is dictated by fear, by suspicion, by distrust. And God here is basically reminding us that we have to be careful for nothing. So when we see things happening, it's not that we shouldn't care, but we shouldn't allow that to inspire fear in our hearts. Instead, we should actually take it straight to God. It basically says, "But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God," right? And so anything that you feel, be it positive as a matter of fact or negative, you have to take it to God first before you even tell your bestie, okay? Before you even share whatever good ideas or whatever it is that you're precautious about, that you're anxious about, you have to take it to God first, because only He has the perfection to help you through whatever it is. He has the power to be able to protect you. If it's something good, good things will always bring about quote unquote haters. It's going to bring about people who will not be happy for you when things are doing amazingly well in your life. Okay, things are going amazing in your life. There are going to be people who are not going to like that. And so if you bring that good thing that you've been working for, or even before you even start working towards it, you bring it to God, you will have God's divine protection, where even when the enemy tries to use people around you to attack you so that you can be discouraged, you can be dissuaded, you can be distracted, you will have the protection of God. And when bad things happen, again, bring that straight to God as well, because it is very important that when we are going through things, that we have the protection from God, not just in terms of physical aspects, but also protection of the mind, because the biggest battle is always in the mind. Okay, the bigger battle is the one of the mind, where the enemy is always trying to pull us back and forth to try and sway us to do the wrong thing when we even know it is the wrong thing to do. He sways us to do things that are unwise, that not just affect us negatively as individuals, but it affects the people who are around us as well. And that's why it is important that we bring everything to the Lord in prayer. We always look to God for everything that we do. We bring it to Him, negative or positive, we bring it to Him, because no matter what, especially when we're going through bad things, no matter what, He's the only one that can give us the peace that we need, especially when we have to navigate difficult times. Because when you have to navigate difficult times, it is very difficult to focus. It is very difficult to have a clear mind. And the peace that God can give us, nobody can understand it, because it allows you to be able to navigate a difficult situation where others would basically fail to navigate, simply because it is a very difficult path to navigate. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I hope this helps somebody out there. With that said, let us get on with this Enchanted by Nature official reveal trailer. I have actually already watched the trailer, and so right now I'm actually going to be playing the trailer, but I'm going to just be going through some bits and pieces, I guess, that I have noticed and see what it is that I like and do not like about the trailer. So let's have a look-see. And so I'm literally just replaying the trailer and going through the whole little girl's life where she, well, not life per se, but you know, she's dreaming that she's a fairy, and then she wakes up only to find that, oops, I'm not actually a fairy, and she's a bit sad and miserable because of it, and her parents can't seem to figure out what her issue is. And when she walks into her room, actually, her room is literally like a greenhouse. Her bed, there's literally a canopy bed that's actually been introduced to the game, and it's literally a proper like fairy tale type style bed. Her entire room has got plants everywhere. Now, I feel like this is a mixture of new plants from the new pack and plants that are already in base game. I can see that the trunk that's in front of her bed is actually, I think that's a base game trunk, because I've seen that trunk before. So that's a base game trunk. And the windows that I'm looking at are base game windows, definitely. They just, I think, happen to match the aesthetic of her room. And she's literally spraying the plants. So I'm assuming that's going to be a new thing you'll be able to do, just randomly spray plants, because I think I've not seen that happen before. The only time I've seen someone spray plant is from I think it was a stuff pack or a game pack that came with the plants, with the extra gardens or whatever, garden stuff. But that one actually gives the option, or is it seasons? One of the two. But it gives you the option to basically make flower arrangements, and I think you use a spray for that. But this is the first time outside of that I've actually seen a sim spray a plant that's in a pot plant. You can spray for bugs when your plants are in the garden, but you can't do anything else outside. You actually cannot interact with normal plants in general. And so this girl is given the aspiration Nature Nomad. I'm assuming that's the new aspiration that's going to come with the new pack. And because she's a nature nomad, obviously she gets to pursue things as a herbalist, because I'm assuming from what I've seen so far in the trailer, it seems there is an option to be a herbalist where you can make herbs to help cure illnesses, etc., that sort of thing. And so that's a career. I wonder if that's the only career, or there's going to be different branches or styles of someone that dabbles in making herbs for natural remedies, basically, should I say. And I noticed the town, now obviously they've only given us one perspective of the town. I'm assuming there's going to be 3 other areas, as they normally is a standard with the Sims. But my question is, which ones of these buildings is actually functional and which ones are decor? That's my question. There's lots of curved roofing, by the way, lots of curved roofing, but you can curve your roofs anytime in the Sims anyways. It just depends on the style that you are creating the build in. But I do want to know which one of these houses and buildings or whatever are actually functional and which ones are actually decor. I do wish they would give us more functional houses and buildings, kind of like the way they did Journey to Batu. If their excuse is that, oh, want to make sure that it doesn't take up too much space in the game, hello, 100 plus DLCs later, yeah, you've already forced us to create space. So do give us more fleshed out worlds. Do give us more fleshed out towns, even if it's having to use the Journey to Batu style, which is like almost like semi-open world, where you can have multiple buildings within the same place where you don't need a loading screen. And all the buildings do is the walls kind of just come away when you enter that building. At least give us something similar to that. And the reason why I'm saying this is what's coming up later is what I'm literally just seeing right now is a kiosk. It seems people are having to go to yet another kiosk, but this one I'm looking at, I don't know if I think this one sells food, but there is one for the herbalist where he is selling herbal medicine. And I feel like that should be a proper shop. Do it in the Journey to Batu style. Make it a proper shop. In the same way, I hate the fact that My Wedding Stories, in order to buy a cake, okay, we're talking about 3-4 tier cake, you're having to buy it at a stall. Where do they do that at? Who goes and buys a wedding cake at a store? Why not do a Journey to Batu type style building that gives us a semi-open world type vibe, and the Sims can walk in and find this beautifully decorated cake shop or wedding shop or flower shop. You know what I mean? I feel like they could have at least done that for us in this instant, if I'm going to be honest, you know? So I kind of don't like the fact that they keep giving us decor buildings and giving us stalls that we can be able to use. And then there is the part here, I noticed where the the town center, let's start with that. There's the town center that's got a massive gnome in the center, which is kind of similar to the statue that is in Mount Komorebi. It kind of seems to function in a similar fashion because we can see a sim actually taking pictures of it. And then there is a tree stump in like a pathway, and I'm assuming a woman and a little girl or mom and daughter are actually throwing stuff at it. And I think that tree stump might be alive. So I'm very curious to see if it actually speaks to people and you have to say or do certain things to get it to respond. I'm very curious about that. And I see on the left, 2 people actually sat down on the ground. Again, this option was not available before. You couldn't just randomly sit on the ground in, oh wait, maybe, wait, or have I not been using that feature much? I think in parts I've seen like Sims have the option to sit on the ground, although I don't recall, if I'm going to be honest. And if it is a new thing, then it's definitely a new feature, because I'm a mod user, so it might have been part of a mod that I was using, because I know there's mods out there that can get Sims to actually sit anywhere on the ground. However, oh no, actually no, I think they did have it as part of a base game update, although I don't know if this applied on the outdoors. I know you could sit on the floor within a building, but I don't recall having the option, even as part of a base game update, to sit on the ground outdoors. So I'm unsure of that actually, because there's also a part where there's this little kid. She is planting something. She cut up some things. She's got scissors as well, and she's putting some flowers, and she pats it down. And it looks like, I don't know, it's like she was planting something, but I feel like that for that part, it's kind of vague. So I'm hoping that we're going to get some more insight when we see the gameplay trailer. But we can see a lot of people being botanists, planting away. And then there is the option for foraging as well, which is coming up in a bit. But have you noticed that this old man actually eats a raw fish? He eats a raw fish. I'm hoping, okay, I'm really, really hoping that this is the introduction of Sims being able to go fishing and actually be able to eat the fish. Again, this would be such a plus for my rags to riches. Such a huge plus. Because I've never understood, like, you've gone fishing and then all the time you have to sell the fish. Why not be able to actually also have it as a meal? The Sims can eat the raw vegetables and fruits. Well, raw vegetables and the fruits. But they have not been able to eat the fish that they catch. I've never understood that. And the fact that he's got a watering can with a bird's nest on his head, that is actually quite hilarious. That is really, really funny. He loves fish. And the little girl, now this part is what intrigued me, right? She gets hungry and she clicks on the ground, and we see a few options. One says forage here, but the other says sleep here. I'm really praying and hoping that the sleep here option, when you click on the ground, anywhere on the ground, is going to be available as part of a base game update. Because again, as someone who is a rags to riches player, I love the idea of my sim being able to actually, if they're homeless and they're vagabond, let them sleep anywhere, because that's all the options they have available. Why should my sim have to travel all the way to the park to find a park bench in order to sleep? They're homeless. They should be able to lie down anywhere so long as it's safe and sleep right there. And so I'm hoping this is going to be part of a base game update. And the foraging as well with this one, she forages on the ground and she finds mushroom, sage, and an eggplant frog. Again, in order for us to find eggplant frogs, you either had to go to a pond or you had to literally find a tree stump that normally has frogs. And so the fact that you can forage for them and find
vegetables as well. That's very new, and I'm hoping again this is going to be part of base game. But you know how the Sims, they'll give you a little bit in base game and everything else you have to pay extra for it. It's kind of crazy, but I do like that feature. I really, because all these features, the reason why I'm loving these features is because I'm a rags to riches aficionado, and so these types of things are the things I thrive off of, because then it really allows my sim to play the rags part of the rags to riches properly and a lot more fleshed out. So I kind of like that. And I think she went ahead and ate the frog. This girl, how you found mushrooms and sage. Why don't you eat the sage and the mushrooms? You decide to eat a frog. And do you not have a home? Do you not have parents? Go home to your parents and go eat properly. She ate the frog, but she actually hates eating frogs. So it's a little bit counter, you know. And then there is the fact that she found a gnome. Then I don't know why does the gnome come alive? The gnome that's kind of shaking up and down, up and down. Does it come alive? I'm a little curious about that. And I noticed, I think the icons, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm looking at them close up, but the icons for the needs look different. Unless I'm being paranoid, they seem like they're going to change them when they do an update. And then obviously there's the option to bathe in the water. Now, here's the thing about bathing in the water. If you recall, I think there's only 1 or 2 places where you can bathe in the water, and it was not really in the water per se. It was more by the waterfall that you could bathe in. That was in Sulani. I don't know if there's any other pack that actually permitted you to bathe in the water apart from when you've got seasons and it's raining and you can bathe in the rain. Otherwise, there was never an option before to bathe in the water. Again, for rags to riches players, I think this is probably going to be a great pack for people who love rags to riches, because it's adding all these little bits and pieces that allow for you to play a very good rags to riches. And bathing in water that's in the river is part of being homeless, because hey, if I can't find somewhere I can shower and I see a sea of water, a river of water, a lake of water, whatever water, I'm gonna go ahead and bathe in it. And I like that this option has actually become available. And the sleeping option, they've introduced a sleep again. Listen, this is very rags to riches for me as far as I'm concerned. This should have been called rags to riches plus fairies, because literally you can now click anywhere on the ground when you are it seems it activates when your sim is tired. It doesn't seem to activate when your sim is not tired, or maybe it's on particular parts of the ground, because I noticed they clicked on the ground and the option to sleep on the ground was the sleep here was the only one, whereas the other ones clicked on the ground and it had the forage and it had the, what was it? The foraging. Is it sitting down? Oh my gosh, I've forgotten what the third one was, but you know the one I'm talking about. But it didn't have the option to sleep. So am I to assume that it only either activates when your sim is sleepy or in certain areas? So you get the different options in certain areas. And if that's the case, does that mean this is going to be pack restricted then? Or through the base game update, it will permit for your sims to be able to do certain things in certain areas? I am curious about that. And I honestly, being able to just sleep, that is really great. She wakes up and she's got an ailment. Now, here's something I've noticed, that they've decided to title this an ailment. I could have sworn before, whenever a sim got ill, they called them just sickness or something. But now they're actually calling them ailments. So I'm very curious about that. This girl is actually getting sonic sinuses, which is ironic because she loves plants and she loves everything to do with plants, and yet she's got sonic sinuses. That is not very helpful at all. Can you imagine having hay fever, but you love the idea of being a botanist, or you are a botanist? That is crazy. But they also introduced these new buildings, obviously with all the new build and buy decor items. Funny enough, when she was walking past that shop, it actually looked as though the shop was decor, but I'm assuming it's the way the windows and everything are that makes it look like decor. And as I mentioned earlier on, she's going to the botanist or the herbalist, and he's got a store. Why couldn't it be like a proper shop? Even if it was a natural like looking shop, why didn't they make it like an open plan type style and she can just walk in, rather than having him be at a store, because I think it's kind of crazy. Can you imagine if you've got seasons and it's raining, every time your Sims have to go and buy something that you can only get at a store, like buying a wedding cake, they actually will get wet and then get uncomfortable, and before you know it, your Sim doesn't want to do what you're asking them to do. Like, I feel like sometimes there's no logic that's been utilized when trying to make this a lot more fleshed out. I think for me, that's one of my major gripes with how the Sims team, the producers, have kind of navigated things that make it a lot more, I suppose, realistic to a degree for players. And yes, it sounds ironic because this is a Fairies pack. However, that's besides the point. Because everybody that knows, if you know, you know, you know. I don't have to even over-explain, okay? So she actually talks to him. His name is Todd Attenborough, the guy at the store. And he says to her, if you harvest these ingredients, I will reward you with a cure. So basically, you can go to him and ask for a cure for your ailment, because that's what we're calling them now, that you have contracted in some way, shape, or form. And so she actually has to go and grab, so she harvests petals. So is it petals from any plants? Because this looks like almost like sunflowers, daisies. And she harvests petals, and she harvests Bottle Moody Shrub Potion. Okay. And she delivers the ingredients. So he does send you on a quest, a mini quest of sort, a side quest, for you to be able to actually get the ingredients to get the medicine that you need to be able to cure. So for her, it's from the sinuses. Now, here's my thing. What happens if you can't find the ingredients? Does your Sim die? And is this their way of potentially introducing a new death? I'm actually curious about that, because the amount of deaths that they've introduced in The Sims is actually quite insane. So she ends up eating the medicine that he's made, and he's made her feel better. Now they're showcasing they're starting to showcase the build by items. I can see like mushroom shelving. I love the fact that we've got the floral walls, like the plant walls, the wall plants, should I say. I like that because I feel like we haven't had enough of wall plants in the game, especially when I'm trying to build like a cottage type style build. I always felt I had to go to debug all the time in order to get extra wall flowers and wall plants, you know what I mean? And it seems there's like a new workspace where you can make your herbal potions or whatever you want to call them to help you. And it seems I think they have given her own little section at the house. And again, you know what? I know people have probably already created this, but I see that there is like a Hobbit type style house, and people are going to go to town. Builders, the ones who are strictly builders, who are even better than me at building, they are going to go in on building those Hobbit houses. I can see it. Already people have built those type of styles homes, even without these build by items. Now, can you imagine with these build by items that are a lot closer to what the Hobbit homes actually look like? It's about to go crazy. The building is about to get insane, and I'm actually quite excited to see what people actually come up with. I will see, because I've never really attempted that style of build, so we'll see if I'll be able to at some point build myself a Hobbit type style house. This is actually good build by if you want to build like a safari lodge resort place, because it's got the type style to, you know, that kind of earthy vibe kind of thing. So I do like that about it. But I'm just trying to see what else is here. Obviously, we've got new outdoor lights, more plants for the outside, and the roofing. I think the roofing is new. The roofing is new, because I was just looking at the curving. I said, yeah, anyone can easily curve roofs, but the roofs actually have grass on top of them. So I wonder how many different styles of that we're gonna have. I'm a little curious about that. And they show more build items. There's literally a whole bunch of new build items, and I think the reason why they're probably introducing a whole load of new build items for this is for the simple reason that if it's going to really match the whole vibe of having that whole nature vibe, they couldn't just have it only just a little bit and then half of it is just very modern, if that makes sense. So all of it had to have the natural vibe. I'm talking about like there's a balcony, the staircases, the fireplace, even a mirror. I see a mirror with mushrooms, windows, literally almost every part that you can build an entire house with, a few base game bits here and there. It's all very natural, including the foundation from what I'm seeing, some tables, so a swing set. Yeah, a whole lot of things, a whole lot of build by items. With the cast items, I'll be honest, I haven't really seen that much. I've seen lots of different hairstyles so far, maybe about 4 or 5 different hairstyles. All the sims that have come up so far, it seems their hairstyles are all from the new pack, and their cast clothing, that's all from the new pack as well, I have noticed as well. Obviously the ailments is kind of funny because everybody seems to suffer differently, kind of like the woman right now, as we're looking literally right now. We have the woman in the blue t-shirt. She's got roses that have kind of like inflamed over her skin, which is weird. Her ailment is simoleon fever, which, okay, so this makes me curious. A sim's going to be allergic to being broke? Because if that's the case, as someone who loves playing rags to riches, it would be very interesting to give a sim like a mansion baron aspiration and yet they're rags to riches. Does that mean that they're going to get sick of simoleon fever? Which are going to require herbs to actually be cured? I'm very curious, but all of them, all their cast items are brand new. Hairstyles, clothing, all new. I'm kind of like, it's kind of fascinating. It seems you can have like a herbalist business where people come to you. I wonder if you'll be able to have like a working from home type setting where you can have customers come to you, and then you also be able to have a job where you can actually go to your job. I wonder, like, I'm honestly very curious as to how many careers they're going to be offering. And I also noticed that they've got the kitchen counters. Those are all brand new. The kitchen counters are new. The cabinets are new. A lot of the decor that's on the cabinets are new. And chairs are new. Desk, I can see a chair and desk that are new. I think you get certificates. For every time, I suppose, you become better at being a herbalist, you get certificates, which is kind of cool. And I just realized that this is the girl all grown up. And then there's this man, the same one with the oh my goodness, the same man with the watering can in his head. His ailment is creation impulse, so I guess he hasn't been created enough. However, upon him telling her this, she thinks about the time when she actually remembers seeing a tree stump that was unique and different. So I am assuming that this is what leads her to the fairies, obviously. Although I'm just wondering, because it goes in a thought bubble, is it her just having like a recollection of her dream? And because as she plucks things from this mysterious tree, only then does she notice the fairies having a party. And when she goes to have a look, the fairy comes out and immediately goes into life size. And a couple of other fairies join her, and one of them is actually Pregor. So I'm very curious as to how that works. I wish we could enter the tiny little fairy's house. I would like to see how it looks in the inside. And can you imagine if we were able to actually make the fairy's house, like do a build buy for the fairy's house? That would be really cute. So they do go into like life size, but they also downsize. When they downsize, they can turn your sim into a fairy as well and give your sim wings. I'm assuming they give your sim powers to do stuff as well. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, kind of showcase. So more gameplay, more fairies, June 26th. So June 26th is where we're going to see a lot more of this pack, the gameplay trailer, I'm assuming. So I'm curious. Obviously, I want to see all the cast items, all the build items, but most importantly, I want to see what the worlds look like, and I want to see what gameplay actually this pack, it's an expansion pack, right? So I want to see what gameplay it's going to come with as well. Is it an expansion? I'm assuming it's an expansion pack, or is it a gameplay? It is an expansion pack, so this better be big, honestly. Like, you can't keep saying expansion pack and then give us gameplay, you know what I mean? Like, no. Sims team, you need to honestly pull up your socks. Can't keep giving us subpar DLCs and charging us full price. It's not on. At this point, you're just robbing your community. But because we've already invested so much in the game, to a degree, we're kind of stuck with that, if that makes sense. You know, especially if we're like, oh yeah, I want to add this to my game because it does help my gameplay, it does help my content. Like, but come on now, meet us halfway and you know, stop being so greedy, especially in this economy. Stop being so greedy. That's all I can say about that. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think of the world, of the features that you've seen so far. Are you excited for these fairies? I am not excited. I'm okay with it. I'm not excited though, simply because I feel like they just keep going on and on and on about occults, and I would rather we just had some other just loads of other packs come in that have some level of realism for us, such as being able to... I want my Sims to be able to drive cars. I want my Sims to have more fleshed out jobs, I suppose. I want a world that is of the African culture, because we still getting left to the wazoo. We've had Asian, we've had Latina, we've had South American, North American, European, everything but... We've literally had everything but African. And don't even get me started on the tokenism, because I don't want to go on another rant, because it's easy for me to go on a rant on those things, because the tokenism is actually ridiculous. It's actually quite insulting. But I would love to see a proper African expansion pack, not even just a game pack, an expansion pack. I feel like we're owed that. We're owed something that fully embraces Black culture, or Black customs at least. You know what I mean?
So before we end this video, obviously I'll be remiss if we do not go through some of the notes that the Sims team have got available on the website. And so what it brings, it gives me 4 different sections. One says life among the trees, the fairest folk, a balanced lifestyle, and a land of enchantment. So let's see what they have to say. Life among the trees says, step outside and make yourself at home in nature. With the natural living skill, Sims can meet their needs outdoors without beds. Okay, this is what I was talking about, beds or plumbing. This is so, or plumbing, wait. Where do they go pee? Because I noticed they can shower, they can sleep, but where do they pee? The natural world has a lot to offer, and Sims can forage to uncover what's hidden. Find everything from crystals to frogs to food. This way of life is perfect for Sims with the new nature nomad aspiration. Okay, Sims can even bring the great outdoors inside with new pots for gardening on tables, counters, shelves, and more. The 3 new traits, plant lover, mystical, and disruptive, okay, play a role in how Sims relate to their world. Okay, the fairest folk says, do you feel nature's mystical pull? Embark on a special journey and become a fairy. Fairies can develop abilities that let them nurture plants, change the moods of others, and a whole lot more. The new fairy stories aspiration will have you choosing between harmonious and discordant fairy paths. Create fairy Sims with wondrous wings and make them unique by painting. Plus, add whimsical accessories, glowing tattoos, and more. Non-fairy Sims can also have magical fun by using fairy dust to enchant plants, bring gnomes to life. Hence, I saw the gnome shaking, and this picture literally showing a gnome that's kind of standing on one foot, and it's got fairy wings. I wonder if that's the gnome coming to life. Gnomes to life and more. Okay, and then a balanced life. Prolonged negative emotions cause imbalance, and imbalance can lead to ailments with strange effects. They aren't always bad. Maybe you like lots of gnomes at your house. Oh my gosh, that's an ailment? Oh my gosh, that would literally freak me out. But if you want a cure, you can turn to the new apothecary table. Well, it's an apothecary table, but honestly, apothecary table and hone your... Okay, for the skill. Okay, I was gonna say apothecary table. I was like, are you sure it's just not a stall? That's how much I dislike stalls. I don't hate them, but I just don't like the fact that we've got more of them than buildings being able to be used as actual shops, you know? Anyways, apothecary table and hone your apothecary skill. There's a cure for everyone of the 8 ailments. 8. I was wondering about how many. The 8 ailments plus 14 more recipes with other fantastical effects. Sims who enjoy the apothecary skill can become naturopaths. Okay, a new 10 level skill. New 10 level career where you can cure Sims at home. Okay, they may also take on the elixir enthusiast aspiration. Make sure to watch your luck, which affects everything from cooking well to developing ailments. Oh my goodness, I'm curious about what that happens. I wonder if that actually can, kill Sims. A land of enchantment. Innisgreen. Okay, so the world is actually going to be called Innisgreen. Innisgreen is a beautifully lush green world where Sims live in harmony with nature. There are 3 neighborhoods, a quiet waterfront town called Coast of Admore, where they'll all where they're all about gnomes. Okay, Spruceberry Grove, where nature and civilization blend together, and the magical forest of Everdew. Okay, from meeting Mother Nature and starting your journey towards Fairydom, to using the glasswood tree statue to summon Spruce Almighty. Is this a play on words on Bruce Almighty? Summon Spruce Almighty, spectacular adventures are waiting. Okay, I am indeed fascinated. So, well, we shall see. We shall wait and see if this is as exciting as it has been described, right?
We need that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave you to it because I'm trying not to make this video too long, even if it's already long at the moment. But guys, for me, I wish you all the blessings that God has to give. Please take care of one another. Take care of yourselves, of course. Be kind to other people. You never know what a little bit of kindness can do to save someone else's life. I wish you all the blessings that God has to give. For me, is take care and good. Bye.